Yo, SNA fans, this is Super Ninja Austin back here with his 119th episode of the SNA podcast. And we're going to be talking about what exactly went down on the latest edition of AEW Rampage. Yes, sir and ma'am, this is the AEW Rampage review part 13, the last 13th week of doing the wrestling reviews on the SNA podcast. Let's begin. We're going to start off onto this video with, with Roosh and with no, not Roosh. We're gonna start off with Andrade coming into the ring with possibly his new manager, CJ Perry, the former Lana. Which I was telling Andrade, I was like, "Be careful, Andrade. Like, don't make your wife jealous and her husband jealous because like Miro's backstage is getting prepared to kill to have a plan to murk you on AEW television." But anyway, yeah, he had a match with the dancing the dancing the fanatic, what's his name, Daniel Garcia, and this is where this is how they start the fight right here in this match, with them doing a slowly but surely getting close to each other, getting ready to grapple, like lock horns, like metaphorically, they're actually arms. Like they're this is where they spin around like for like 5 seconds straight until they got back grappling again. And Andrade twisted his arm, Daniel Garcia's arm, like bending it forward, like onto his left arm, I believe. And this is where Daniel Garcia tried to roll out of it, but he got the hold right tight and locked in, like holding it, like not letting go unless he decides to unlock it. This is where Daniel Garcia tried to grab onto the ropes, do a rope break, but that wasn't working because he was pulling him back. This is where Daniel Garcia tried to flip out of it, or at least, he even rolled out trying to get out, but that didn't work. So he tried to go for. So he tried to twist his arm to intercept the grasp of Andrade, like bend his arm right into the bend his arm up and bend it up in the middle of the ring. This is where he started spinning him around. This is where Andrade does a rolling front flip. They free his arm from that locking hold and go back to twisting Daniel Garcia's left arm. And this is where Daniel Garcia started squealing a little bit, like squealing of agony. This is where Daniel Garcia tried to go and try to do exactly what Andrade did, do a springboard front flip, but he did a dipping ropes, bottom ropes, and do a shove right onto Andrade. This is where Andrade is like, did he really just do that? Like, this is where Daniel Garcia started smiling. This is where CJ Perry was impressed with what she's seeing in the ring with these two, started clapping away. I was like, okay, like hopefully that's a friendly clap, and you're very impressed, and you want to make them your clients and be the biggest star. Like, to stick to that plan and nothing more than that, because you already got a wrestling man that's being jealous with these two guys, and if they're not careful, either man will be ending up just like Action Andretti and Ryan Nemeth. Which because that gave him flashback from when his brother was in alliance with his wife back in 8 years ago, 2015. But anyway, this is where he tried to go for this is where Andrade goes right for a headlock when they were grappling. This is where Daniel Garcia tried to get out of it, but there was nothing that was going to unlock the grasp of Andrade's arms. This is where he started trying to punch elbow him. This is where he twisted. He finally got out, do a headlock on his own. I don't know how he unlocked it. He just pulled his arms right off him like if he was the Incredible Hulk. This is where Daniel Garcia had his knees down, like doing a headlock. This is where both men got up. This is where he gets Irish whipped, like from the right side. I mean, not the right, the bottom side of the ropes towards the top side of the rope corner into the ring. This is where Daniel Garcia throws Andrade in the middle of the ring. This is where he was hanging on to the sides and with his hand up in the air, like El Idolo. And then this is where Daniel Garcia was like, really, right now? He's like, if he wants to do his pose, like, I'm going to do mine. And this is where you're going to try to do that dance, which Andrade instantly came back in the ring and stopped him, like saved by the bell, more like saved by the shoulder tackle. Like this is where Andrade was like, if he was gonna do his dance, he was trying to do his dance, sheesh. But that was very painful. This is where he twists his arm back forward. This is where he runs right into the right side, gets ducked by Daniel Garcia, goes onto the right side after the left side, and this is where he goes right to the left side. He tried to go for I think he tried to close on him, but he ducks, hits him with a missile drop kick when he was hanging onto the out. Like when he was standing on his knees on the side. This is where Andrade, after he did a double missile drop kick, went right to Daniel Garcia, put him right onto the top right corner, and then this is where he hits a knife edge chop on him. I was like, looks like we got a new victim a future victim of Gunther's onto his envy list, because he just hit a knife edge chop onto Daniel Garcia, because you know the rules. Like whoever does the most deadliest and the loudest knife edge chop, he's going to add him to the list. Like that's where he started continuously doing that, like in the top right corner, and then he took him to the top left corner. This is where he tried to put him into the bottom right corner, but this is where Daniel Garcia started countering, hitting him a couple of blows and fists right onto the El Idolo. This is where he started punching him back and forth like about a dozen times in a row until Aubrey Edwards had to hold him back because she was doing her 5-second warning DQ count. But it looked like Daniel Garcia didn't care until Aubrey Edwards had to hold him back. This is where Daniel Garcia Irish whips Andrade from the top corner ropes, goes to the bottom. Andrade tried counters, but this is where Daniel Garcia do a rolling like a countering roll. This is where Andrade tried to run towards him. This is where he trips him over. Daniel Garcia does to Andrade, of course. This is where he does a roll over Andrade, gets some retribution, and hits him with that missile dropkick he did to him. Like being like Daniel Garcia was trying to do like an AEW version of Austin Theory in the process. This is where we got Daniel Garcia Irish whipping Andrade right to the bottom corner. He tried to bow down, like trying to go for like perhaps a body drop, but this is where Andrade kicks him right in the head, because this was the most idiotic attempt in all the sports entertainment and / pro wrestling. This is where Andrade hits a clothesline right onto Daniel Garcia afterwards, trying to go for a running attack to Daniel Garcia right into the bottom right corner, but instantly got booted by the former Ring of Honor Pure Championship. This is where Andrade hits he was in the mid rope trying to go for a mid rope dive, but soon after gets intercepted by El Idolo, and he hits a springboard drop kick. Possibly learned that from the Ocho Chris Jericho, because he kicked him right outside the ring. This is where Daniel Garcia was in the ring side. This is where Andrade went right on the top rope. This is where he goes try to go for the top rope moonsault, just like his wife. And that's what makes me. And I even wonder, like, what is up with him and his wife Charlotte doing each other's signature and finishing moves, like on their respective shows that they're currently on. But this is where Daniel Garcia walked away, no selling the move. But luckily Andrade did it just yet, because it would have been a very agonizing and brutal way down. But he noticed that Andrade was stalking and chasing after him, so he started running away, trying to get away from the Mr. El Idolo. El Idolo was like, really? Like, why you're doing that? That's where he got back in the ring, but this is where Daniel Garcia tried to knee him right to the back, but he moved right away, right on time. This is where he tried to hit a right hand on Andrade, but Andrade hits a counters, he blocks it and hits a right hand of his own, respectively. He went on the top rope, go for the most comeback move in all of sports entertainment / pro wrestling in 2023, the crossbody, off the top rope in the bottom left corner, but only got a 1-2 ooh. This is where CJ Perry was somewhat panicking for some reason. I don't know what that mean. What she was doing. This is where try to Irish whip Daniel Garcia right into the top left corner, but he gets countered. He flips right over the top rope onto the left side of the apron. This is where Daniel Garcia goes for a sleeper. Yeah, but he gets ran right onto to the Tina turnbuckle in the bottom left corner. This is where he tried to come in, but he gets dragon screwed by Daniel Garcia. This is where Daniel Garcia I'm trying to get ready to go for a running knee strike right onto the back of Andrade off the apron, where she got him down into the left side of the ringside area. This is where Daniel Garcia looked him right in the ground. He was like, and this is where he started looking on the side, which was CJ Perry was on his side, in Andrade's side. This is where she started smiling. I was like, don't tell me. Like, does that means that what that means is she's smiling like she wants some Daniel? Like, not sure if she should be she should avoid temptation like that. But anyway, like besides, it's not that much of temptation anyways. But yeah, he started getting ready to do his dance, which I believe Miro is boiling backstage. Like when he was looking at this on the TV screen, he started doing that dance. This is where he's like in front of Miro's hot and flexible water. But luckily he didn't. He did not want any of CJ Perry. He's like forget it. Like he started pushing pushing her away, like metaphorically, of course. But this is where CJ Perry started doing the Daniel Garcia dance move right after he got his back turned. I was like, if you want to manage him, like, how come you didn't ask Daniel Garcia? Well, maybe it's because she probably didn't want it to. She probably didn't know that he has so much potential and he's very talented. Like, what if he do it? What if I guess doing that dance or even showing his abilities in a squared circle? But anyway, this is where he got Andrade back in the ring. He did he pushed him right to the top corner ropes, like inside the ring. Dips him right there, hits him with a German suplex, slingshot back to him. This is where I believe he probably hurt his mouth. Let's see right here. This is where he got on the top rope, hit a suplex, tried to go for a suplex, but Andrade got him off the top ropes, hit him with a intercepting right strikes, like about half a dozen times in a row. Brings him down, try to go for a double axe handle, but Daniel Garcia moves right out of the way, like runs towards the bottom right corner that they were in. This is where Daniel Garcia whammed him with a right hand. This is where he tried to run and try to go for some kind of a running attack move, but Andrade instantly countered to a wheelbarrow roll-up, which is kind of and technically the most devastating move in all sports entertainment, like when you do a wheelbarrow roll-up. But this is where Daniel Garcia got before he could do a roll-up. This is where he got a roll-up, but he only got him one count because he purposely got him off into a pinning position and put him in an ankle lock, like trying to twist that ankle out of Andrade El Idolo. But even for trying to attempt, it was not convincing Andrade to tap out because he's that kind of guy that does not lose by submission, and rarely loses by pinfall. And overall, this is where he's like, no, I'm not tapping. He starts smacking the mat, but he starts banging it because you cannot lose the match when you're banging the ropes. I'm not ropes, or the canvas. Because and this is where Nigel McGuinness is like, you better be careful doing that because the official probably will get that confused as a tap. I was like, you have a good point, Nigel, because if he keeps it up and repeatedly doing that, that means it could be a sign of him tapping. But luckily, that wasn't the case because he started banging, trying to get ready. That's why Aubrey Edwards gave her a chance because he wasn't specifically tapping. And this is where he finally got out of the ankle lock hold, kicks Daniel Garcia clean off into square off his face, like with the bottom part of his boot or shoe, I should say. But he gets instantly chop blocked. hits him with a back suplex to Andrade, but he rolls out of it. This is where Daniel Garcia tried to go for a kick to the gut, but he gets dragon screwed, reversed by Andrade, with Andrade also doing another dragon screw right into his leg. This is where he tried to close on Andrade, but he ducks, hits, and then he runs right into the bottom rope, hits a running crossbody right onto Daniel Garcia. This is where CJ Perry was like, come on, you got this, Andrade. This is where he kicks up. This is where he's like, ah. And then this is where he was like El Idolo. This is where he's like kicking over his legs, like Idolo. And then this is where he goes, and everybody's saying like sleep, like see, knee. And this is where he hits the double knees right onto Daniel Garcia. But this is where Abiero counted the one, Abiero's counted the two, but kicks out at 2.7 seconds. And Andrade was like, are you serious? Like, how did he kick out of those, kick out of the double knees? Like, even though it was not the most devastating, but still, like, there shouldn't be a way for him to kick out. This is where Andrade drags Daniel Garcia right onto the bottom left corner. This is where he goes for get ready to go for the moonsault, but Daniel Garcia grabs onto his legs, and he made him trip over, landing on his backside. And then this is where Daniel Garcia starts stomping onto Andrade in the exact same corner, but into the bottom ropes. He starts stepping on him, hit some kind of a springboard stomp right onto Andrade's chest. Sorry. It must be the time. It has been a long day. But anyways, we're going to continue with Daniel Garcia picking up Andrade. This is where Daniel Garcia is like, how about I do my version of double knees, which he did so, but Andrade was up on the corner onto the bottom left corner of Tina the turnbuckle. He does a double knees, picks him up into a suplex, like roll him up and do a secondary suplex. But this is where Andrade try to counters it, but he managed to hit the suplex on him, turn it into some kind of a Three Amigos combo, like while he tried to go for the maneuver. But this is where Andrade managed to get out of Daniel Garcia's suplex and hit his own, which he did. He spinned around and get ready to go for another suplex, which he successfully did. And this is where he goes for a third time, see if it's a charm, with CJ Perry started cheering for him along. This is where he tried to go for a third suplex. This is where Daniel Garcia twisted his arm into an underhook, and this is where Andrade goes for a undertied underhook, I should say. But this is where he tried to go for a clothesline. He ducks out of the way. This is where Daniel Garcia go for a brainbuster. This is where Abiero's counted to 1, Abiero's counted to 2, but kicks out at 2.9. This is where CJ Perry was like, thank you, God. Like, he did not beat Andrade. This is where Daniel Garcia got him right into a back to belly position, trying to perhaps go for a German suplex. But this is where Andrade hits the back elbow right into the face of Garcia. This is where Andrade hits a body slam, a scoop body slam. This is where Andrade tried to go for a second time as a charm. I can see if it's a guarantee. Try to go for the top rope and go for a double moonsault splash onto Daniel Garcia, which he finally successfully got on the top rope. This is where Daniel Garcia ruled out of the way, but he still managed to hit the second moonsault, and it was a guarantee. But unfortunately, the pinfall after that pin really wasn't a guarantee, because the referee counted 1, the referee counted 2, but he kicks out at 2.6 seconds. This is where CJ Perry was freaking out, saying, like, what? Like, are you serious, Aubrey? Like, how can you count that as a 3? This is where Andrade got Daniel Garcia onto his knees, and he started hitting strike forearms onto Daniel Garcia, but Daniel Garcia answers back with a forearm of his own face first, right onto Andrade. This is where Andrade's like, harder, like, I can't feel you. And this is where Daniel Garcia started repeatedly hitting forearms and elbows right on to Andrade's face, which I'm not sure how he cannot feel Daniel Garcia's forearm. Even though he's skinny, but you can still feel at least, I'll say, 5% of the elbow strikes, like in a way. But this is where Andrade finally hit the forearm back. But he get instantly hit back with a right forearm. This is where this is where Daniel Garcia tried to go for a running attack move, like wherever that could be, like. But Andrade picks him off, hits him with a boot, right, like that missed his face on purpose to distract him with the spinning elbow, looking similar to the Judas effect that he usually does. This is where Andrade goes for his finishing move, which is his wife's finishing move, like and his father-in-law's move too. But he usually does it with his hands standing up, with him doing that spider crawl, which he did so. This is where he started doing the figure four, possibly turned into the eventually turned like a figure four, eventually turned into a figure eight. That's right. Like, because he had his hand standing, like it looked like about to do the spider walk like Bray Wyatt, but it's his wife's finishing move, her version of the finishing move, which is the daughter of the Nature Boy. And he did make him tap, and he got the win by submission. Like, as soon as he turned the figure four into a figure eight. And then that works every time. Every time he's in a match, and when he wins, doing exactly what his wife usually do every week on Friday Night SmackDown. This is where CJ Perry celebrated and said, like, congratulations, Andrade. This is where they did a huge hug. I was like, hopefully it's a friendly one, like, because you do not want to get murked by Miro, because if you get any have some physical feelings for her, like, he's gonna basically do that, like, for the sake of his wife. And I believe that Charlotte Flair would do the same thing with CJ Perry. So if I were you two, like, it's going to be a guarantee that's not going to look very pretty for either of you. Like, for considering y'all married to other, like, wrestlers into the business, even though, like, Charlotte's in WWE. But that's a story for another day. But what do you think about this new alliance? But they also showed Miro looking backstage, like, he looks very pissed off, like looking at Andrade having his wife CJ Perry as his manager. And this is where he started rubbing the screen where his wife is at. This is where he may have her as his manager, but he would never have her as his wife. Like, because he's probably thinking of two reasons why, like exactly like Super Ninja Austin is. But we're going to talk about that when it's the wrestling news. And what do you think about this latest win from Andrade against Daniel Garcia? Do you think it was perhaps the first or second match of the night? I think it was sure as hell the second match of the night. But sound off y'all's opinions in the comments below. We're going to move on to the MJF. We got got a recap about these hooded men attacking the Acclaim this past Wednesday on Dynamite, like with the devil mask culprit, the leaders of the culprits who attacked Jay White coming on the screen, which some say could be either Adam Cole or Jack Perry or even Britt Baker, which I don't think it's Britt Baker, but this guy in this devil mask, this showed a whole figure. I mean, he looks a little taller than Britt Baker's height, if I'm being honest. And they showed Samoa Joe's like, you're going to be needing more friends, like after he was too late to help the Acclaim. But we're gonna talk about talk about more of AEW Collision, because up next it was Nick Wayne, wannabe Dame, one of my assassin homies. If y'all wondering why exactly what I'm talking about, like he's also the assassin too, but that's a story for another day. But anyways, this is where Nick Wayne faces what's his name? Dalton Castle from Ring of Honor with his flamboyant Peacock boys entering the ring with him, because They'll be facing the 18-year-old superstar or professional wrestling star. Like, and this is what I'm gonna give you the recap of. Let's see, what's the what's the talk about? This is where Nick Wayne tried to go for a grapple, but this is where Dalton Castle beat him to it. This is where he started holding on to him, and then this is where he tried to Irish whip. This is where he tried to Irish whip. What's his name? Nick Wayne, but Nick Wayne was trying to get out of the ring onto the top right corner. Yeah, he tried to slide up like right onto the top rope on the turnbuckle. But this referee was like, no, like he's on the ropes. Like you gotta take your hands off of him if you want to so you won't get DQ'd. And this was okay. And this is where Nick Wayne was like, is it safe to get in, Mr. Referee? And then he was like, yes, like come on in. This is where Dalton Castle was like I'm gonna get you and I am going to annihilate you. And this is where they got into the locking their arms, metaphoric horns, started trying to go for grappling. Who's going to win the grappling mode? But this is where it looked like Nick Wayne was about to, because he grabbed him on and holding on to him and continued to grapple onto him. Onto the bottom right corner, but the referee was like 1, 2, 3, and as soon as after he counted to 3 on the 5-second DQ warning. This is where Dalton Castle picks him up in midair in a spine buster position and slammed him, nearly slammed him, I should say, right onto the left bottom left corner of Tina the turnbuckle, which it was a safe landing for the 18-year-old wrestler. Because he just put him up in midair. He got onto his feet, landed onto the corner, like in like without being brutally hit with a spine buster or any move in the matter. And where Dalton Castle started wiggling his hips and saying like, you cannot mess with the Prince of the Peacocks. I was like, really? Like Dalton Castle? Like, you barely win any matches in general. So what are you talking about? You cannot mess with, unless you can win most of your matches. You cannot be like, if you're just like you're some kind of a tough and legitimate dominant threat. But this is where Nick Wayne went right onto the bottom side of the ropes. He was like, oh really? Like you think you're very intimidating. Like, yeah, very impressively intimidating. Yeah. A tray, you what? I want purple one. Purple one? Like just a moment, Trey. But anyway, this is where Christian Cage whispered something in his ears. Okay, yeah, like, sure thing, boss. I was like, whatever that means. Like, what he just whispered? Like I don't be surprised if it's some kind of a heel dirty maneuver onto Dayton Castle to get the easy victor. This is where Nick Wayne got back up. This is where they try to go for the hand grabbing or double hand grabbing the double hand grabbing battle. This is where they locked it together, like on both each other's hands respectively. This is where what's his name? Dayton Castle, or Dalton Castle, not Dayton. Dalton Castle tried to go for a clothesline, but this is where Nick Wayne ducks out of the way. This is where he shoves him right onto the ropes into the left side. This is where he started doing the flexing of the muscles. I'm like, okay, like it's only bad enough that Dalton Castle was trying to look intimidate when 9 times out of 10 he doesn't really look like so. But I was like, and what's worse is Nick Wayne thinks he got a whole lot of guns into his arm when he barely has a pound of muscle into his biceps whatsoever. But anyways, this is where like look at it, it looks so. And this is where Dalton Castle was not amused of his physique, so he tripped him down, like, and this is where he tried to go for like some amateur, looked like he was doing some amateur technical wrestling, like if he was in the Olympics. Start spinning him around like a back to belly gator roll version. This is where Here's where he picks up Nick Wayne right onto the into the right side of the ropes, onto the ring corner. His elbow by Nick Wayne, like when he was hanging on to the ropes in the process. This is where he started hitting lefts and right hands to the face of Dalton Castle, which was taking the hits way too much. This is where he tried to go for a boot right to the face of Dalton Castle, but he caught him in midair. It's a dragging, spinning back suplex, which happens and crash into the middle of the ring. This is where Dalton Castle's like, oh. Do you Oakland fans want to see me do more of a beatdown to this little child? And everybody's like, yes. I was like, I may not be the humongous fan of Dalton Castle, but if anybody trying to beat this little spoiled brat's ass onto AEW, like I would not mind it because Nick Wayne is like a AEW version of Dominic Mysterio, if you ask me. Like at least in his heel gimmick, of course. Like just like Dominic Mysterio. But anyway, this is where hits a knee right onto his back. This is where Dalton Castle picks him up, like having a little trouble to pick him up in midair until he eventually got him up, like at least 4 to 5 feet in the air, like going for a gut wrench suplex. And I repeat, gut wrench suplex, not government. But anyway, this is where I did a double decker swinging gut wrench, like to the lefts and rights until he hits the suplex right on back first, right into the canvas. This is where Dalton Castle was a little too distracted with Christian Cage. He was like, maybe I'm through with your little child. Maybe I can get a shot at your AEW TNT championship. Christian Cage was looking like, you never will, even if you do get get the opportunity. But this is where he hits the back to belly face buster next, like slamming him to the canvas. This is where Dalton Castle was even more of a serious face because he started showing it in his face, and then he started locking up his arm, like bending it back, like showing more of the serious side, like and a little less of his silly peacock side. Ever since joining Ring of Honor, like this is where he knees Nick Wayne right to the gut, like repeatedly. This is where he hits a swinging kick right into the back of Nick Wayne. This is where Dalton Castle picks up Nick Wayne, hits him with a standing hip toss. This is where Dalton Castle, I believe, was going for his finishing move. He's doing this pose like He's like, let's go, boys. This is where trying to go for a power slam, but he gets backwards hot shotted by Nick Wayne. This is where he landed face first right into the canvas. This is where Nick Wayne runs right into into the right side into right side right to Dalton Castle. He hits him with a running, swinging uppercut. Try to go for a pin, but you only got a 1.999999 count. This is where he stomped on the back of right onto Dalton Castle. This is where he started stomping right onto right onto Dalton. Dalton Castle, trying to do the flexible muscle pose, trying to be like if he's a new member of the Young Bucks. This is where the fans start chanting and clapping for Dalton Castle. Like, Dalton Castle, clap. Dalton Castle. This is where they put him in another headlock. Try to bend for. This is where it goes. Like trying to gouge in the face and pull the eye and the nose out of his socket of his face. This is where Nick Wayne try to pick him up, try to go for perhaps a backstabber because this is what Dalton Castle did. He pulled him right back onto the top right corner, hits an elbow strike right into Nick Wayne's face. This is where Nick Wayne was still holding on to him, like in the gut, back to belly maneuver, but he continues with the elbow strikes. This is where he's trying to go for a German. This is where he tried to go for a German suplex right onto Dalton Castle, but this is where Dalton Castle flips over into a wheelbarrow roll up, but just for Nick Wayne to hit the roll up, but only got a 2 even count. This is where he tried to go for. This is where he tried to go for a right hand to Nick Wayne, but he holds back. He hits a swinging back elbow like right onto what's his name the Nick Wayne. This is where the way the right to his back until there. This is where. This is where Luchasaurus came out, like, and I was like, why? I mean, came out like Luchasaurus went right to the corner of the flamboyant boys, like the flamboyant peacock boys, I should say. But this is where no matter Dalton Castle hits a exploder suplex onto right onto Nick Wayne. This is where he hits another exploder suplex to Nick Wayne, right, with the repeated exploder suplex. This is where he shows. Instantly got reversed by Nick Wayne with a sunset flip. Black and red. What are you doing with the? What do you do? No, Trey. If you need a paper, like, why don't you just say so? Don't be playing around like that. You're welcome. Bye. And I had to walk there. He was such a flip, but he only got 1, 2, ooh. Also, this is where what's his name? Dalton Castle went for a German suplex. This is where he got back up, high up like This is where Luchasaurus tried to distract Dalton Castle. This is where but the flamboyant boys bring him down to the ground and the concrete floor in the bottom side of the ringside area. This is where they try to go for a double team, but this is where Luchasaurus was the better of it. Hits him with the double choke slam. This is where he tried to go for the most devastating move in all sports entertainment to Nick Wayne, but he got turned down with a 2.99999. This is where Nick Wayne got back up, driven Dalton Castle right onto Barry Barricade. Not Barry Barricade, simple to steel steps in the inside of the ring. This is where Nick Wayne finally going for a second time attempt to that springboard cutter move that he got, which was a guaranteed that was going to be the second time. That's going to work. And then he got the pin. He got the 1, 2, 3. He got the 1, 2, 3, and he remains his main streak ever since aligning with Christian Cage, which Nick Wayne, wannabe Dame, is remaining getting these wins. And what do you think about that? Sound off in the comments below. And also, do you think they're gonna get a win out of Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland, or is it gonna be all Adam Copeland, Sting, and Darby Allin's match? Sound off in the comments also about that down below. And I need some. I'll be right back. I need to get some tissues because I'm in the final stages of my allergies, my seasonal allergies, on the way to fall, of course. So I'm going to get some tissues and I'll be right back. Oh, excuse me, my bad. These allergies are killing me. Uh, uh. And this is where Hangman Adam Page was in a pissed off promo in backstage promo with Swerve Strickland. He was like, "You could have, done anything that you want, Mr. Swerve Strickland. You could have taken my spot after defeating me at Wrestle Dream. Like you did what you decided to do. The biggest mistake that you has possibly made in your sad, pathetic ass life and meaningless life. I mean, sad, pathetic, and meaningless life." And he's like once ever since you and Prince Nana entering my home, you stepped in the gates of hell. And then he's like, at Full Gear, I'll take you down. I'll take you down to the fiery of this for all eternity. At Full Gear, like you got the Hangman, that Texas death match. But you challenged him that at Full Gear. And then this is where he's like, I'm gonna give you one piece of advice in this next week that you got. I'm gonna take some time. I'll take time to walk around Swerve's house. I'll look at every photo wall. I'll look at a picture of your mom, your dad, your kids, and your nephew and nieces, aunts and uncles, anybody in the family. Like, if you don't imagine, like every single precious moment you could have had with them. I want to see every birthday, every prom, every funeral, like every wedding, and then you'll never be there. Well, not if you can walk, of course. And now you can talk and swerve because at Full Gear, I'm gonna take you to the bottom. And then he said, I'm gonna take you to the meaning the bottomless abyss, and I'm gonna lead you to the fire. And he said, for all eternity, and what if you know every November, I'll walk with my son hand in hand and pay you a visit. And I'll watch you urinize on your grave. I was like you're gonna allow him to do his business on his grave? Like, wow. Like, I know Swerve Strickland's unforgiving, but you have to be worse in that category than even Swerve Strickland is. Like, wow. Like, dang. Like, you just referred to attempted murder on television, and I'm not trying to take this too far, Simon Miller, but I believe this is possibly the attempted murder encounter of the night, of course. But yeah, but when we're gonna see him, we're gonna be seeing a unforgiving Hangman Adam Page, and he's gonna. It looks like when he's gonna fight when he fights Swerve Strickland in a Texas Death Match, he's gonna feel like for Swerve Strickland that he's gonna take him to the gates of hell. Swerve Strickland, that Hangman Page is actually taking him to the gates of hell for putting his family involved into their beef in AEW. But yeah, who do you think is gonna win in this Texas Death Match a week from tonight, on Saturday specifically at November 18th? Sound off in the comments down below. But Hangman Adam Page was. He's like, and you're gonna think about what's gonna be. But this is where we got this tag team match with Jalistico and Roosh. Oh, what a beautiful masterpiece! It looks exactly like what you're wearing. You're wearing red and black. That's like Super Ninja Austin in his early years. But yeah, this is where we had Jalistico and Roosh in their tag match against the Workhorsemen, Anthony Henry and JD Drake. And then this is where Anthony Henry tried to throw what's his name onto the top rope onto the right side, but he hits a springboard flying head scissors to him. This is where Jalistico goes for one other move. He goes, but first he goes for any move. This is where Anthony Henry tried to offer his hand for a handshake to him. This is where he kicks his hand off. This is where he hits a super kick into Anthony's. That's Anthony Henry's midsection. Trey, not right now. Anthony No. No. Uncle SNA got to do his podcast.
I need for you.
What aren't you doing on your book like this, for an example?
No, I need for are you back?
No, I don't need that on my on SNA's back. Anyway, this way hits a super kick right onto Jalistico's midsection. This is where Irish whipped him right into the right bottom side of the corner. This is where he splashed right on the Jalistico and then tags in his tag partner JD Drake. This is where he twists the head of Jalistico's head, like looked like he snapped his neck, with Jalistico doing a really good job overselling the maneuver right at that time, because it looked very realistically dangerous, of course. And this is where JD Drake hits a most incredibly impressive springboard senton that any 300-pounder could ever do in pro wrestling. This is where JD Drake was like, let his hand up in the air. This is where he started doing the devil or bull horns to the what's his name to Roosh, which I believe they were bull horns, saying like trying to mock him with his matador gimmick. And I was like, he reminds me of my father, like if he put his horns up, like if he was pretending to be a bull or a devil, and put it like doing that. I was like, he reminded me of my father, like if he was a wrestler like JD Drake. And this is where Anthony Henry put his hands up in the air, just like JD Drake. This is where Drake picks up Jalistico, but Jalistico put his hands right off of him, hits him with the loudest chop of the night, like being another wrestler being added to the envy list of Gunther. I was like, man, these AEW guys just don't never learn. Like, but anyway, this is where JD Drake hits a knife-edge shot right back at him, like being more louder than Jalistico, which Jalistico is grabbing onto his heart, like if you have heartburn right now, like like that sting, like this sugar honey iced tea stings right now. This is where he picks him, try to go for a slam, but this is where Jalistico hits a chop, which JD Drake barely phases, and this is where he hit the chop right back at Jalistico. This is where he tried to go for a suplex to him, but this is where Jalistico flips right out of it, runs right towards his tag partner / brother, I believe his older brother, Roosh. Like he tags him in. This is where he goes straight towards JD Drake, shoves him with a chopping push. This is where JD Drake steps back right on the side. And he was going around sideways. Like he was like, did he really just push me like that? Like how? This is where he hit the chop right at him, which was not as loud as what he did to Jalistico just a minute ago. This is where what's his name? This is where Roosh hits a knife-edge chop right back at him. Like I was like, like it looks like Roosh is added to Gunther's list, and the next time Gunther sees Roosh, like he's gonna get absolutely murked, just like the likes of Eddie Kingston, Dax Harwood, and Bryan Danielson, if they ever wrestle Eddie Kingston at one hand in pro wrestling. This is where JD Drake does the same, hits the chop back at him. This is where Roosh hits the chop back. This is where he started hitting chops. Right on. This is where Roosh hit the chop. They were doing a chop off. I was like, it looks like Gunther's gonna put him on the list like 100 times in a row, like just because of doing this back and forth on one another. This is where also Roosh is like, come on, you still chop like a chimp or a chump. I mean, you still chop like a chump. I want you to chop like a man. It's where he goes for one more time. This is where he gets hit. This is where Roosh hits him with a missile drop kick, a forward missile drop kick right onto JD Drake. This is where he rolls up back onto the middle of the ring, back first. Keep repeatedly stomping on JD Drake's midsection half a dozen times, and even spat on the face of Anthony Henry. Yeah, which he did not take that kindly, because nobody do not like when they get spit at. And this is where the referee had to calm him down, and then put him back on the apron onto the bottom left in this corner. I mean the bottom right on this corner. This is where Roosh put Roosh on put JD Drake on into the right side of the ropes. Like this is where it goes for a knife edge chop right onto JD Drake. Like which you could probably hear that like 10 million miles away. Like this is where he tried to Irish whip JD Drake. This is where JD Drake reversed out of it. This is where he tried to close on to Roosh, but he instantly ducked out of it. This is where he tried to go for a knife edge chop, but he ducked out of that as well. Hit some running clothesline like if he was Bryan Danielson. This is where Anthony what's his name? This is where Anthony Henry, yeah, that's right. He gets runs shot and attack Roosh, but Roosh throws him out of the ring. This is where Roosh like tags in his brother Jalistico. This is where they start double teaming him by hitting. They do a double Irish whip to JD Drake. Hits a clothesline to him, like along with Roosh hitting a running top splash and a double drop kick, which I believe they got him a 1-2, but he threw him on the outside, fighting him into the and then throwing him everywhere into every barricade. But they got him back in the ring, like. And what else? What happens? But this is where he put him back in the ring. This is where he got him right to the bottom the top left corner into the bottom turnbuckles. Hits him with his double striking drop kick maneuver, finishing maneuver to get the 1-2-3. And we got your winners of these Lucha Brothers, which that's not their names. Like it's a different name, but I'm gonna call them their real name. Not real names, their wrestling name, Jalistico and Roosh. Like they got the W, but instantly got interrupted from their celebration win from tonight with the House of Black, like setting off a challenge to Ricky Starks and Big Bill. And that's when it was confirmed that it was a fatal 4-way tag team match for the AEW Tag Team Championship with Roosh and Jalistico and FTR and Malachi Black and Brody King and Ricky Starks and Big Bill themselves as tag team champions. With Malachi Black's like how like we all trying to get what we all trying to get to trying to get an opportunity for like it's not no like it's not like it's not like it's not like it's not a shocker, I should say, like what he described, like that we want the opportunities for those double strap tag team titles, and we got and I'm like I can tell you that you're the most desirable into this company right now, Roosh and his brother Jalistico. And he's like, and then he chooses us. And he's like, which leads us, and this is where Brody King was like, and he's like, an enemy of our enemy is also our friend. Or not friend, enemy, I should say. And so Big Bill and Ricky Starks, like at Full Gear, like the Kings of the Black Throne are coming for the All Elite Wrestling World Tag Team Championships. And this is where Julia Hart got a message for Willow Nightingale and Sky Blues. Like Willow and Sky, like you two just keep rejecting my gifts. But I understand why. Like also it keeps energizing yourself into my business. And so how about this? Tonight on Collision, me and Willow, like I beat her. You had to give me a rematch to Chris Statlander at Full Gear for that TBS championship you got there. And that's where the House of Black stepped back after they had things to say to their respective opponents. And who you thought was gonna win? Do you think it was gonna be Willow Nightingale or you think it's gonna be Julia Hart? Let me know in the comments down below about that. But also we're gonna move on to Roderick Strong against Darius Martin, which I'll say this was very entertaining. I'll say perhaps the fourth match of the night because there's plenty of great matches because the main event, I'm gonna say spoiler alert, is the number one match of the night, which I'm not gonna be too much of a spoiler. I didn't. I just described it, not spoiling anything, but saying what exactly happened. I'm saying it's just a great match, but I'm gonna talk about that in just a moment. But Roderick Strong had a match with Darius Martin, like because that was announced last night on the rarest live episode of AEW Rampage. But this was also live tonight, like which they were in the same city in Oakland, California. This is where Roderick Strong started the match with the one half of the Top Flight. This is where we got a grapple. This is where Roderick Strong grabs onto his arm, twisted forward, like and bend it where it should not be bent at. Rolled him over. This is where he tried to pick him back up, but this is where Darius Martin do a kip up and hit an arm drag right onto Roderick Strong. Like and this is where Roderick Strong hits a arm drag back to Darius Martin and started twisted his arm like into a lower abdominal stretch. But this is where Darius Martin did the kip up right back up. This is where he came back, twisted the arm right onto Roderick Strong, bending it like forward backwards, if that makes any sense. This is where Roderick Strong hits a headlock slam. And this is where fans start chanting next strong, which Tony Schiavone pointed that out. And then I'm not sure if this is the support of Roderick Strong in the Kingdom or just a mockery of them. But either way, like he was like Roderick Strong was full-time heel when he was facing Darius Martin, like twisting the arm, like hit I'm in a back to belly position, like onto Darius Martin. Twist that arm again, like he's being obsessed with that arm. He must have learned it from Andrade and Daniel Garcia because they were all about their arms in the beginning of their match. This is where what's his name got himself free by flipping over Darius Martin, his arm free. This is where he single axe handle Roderick Strong's grass, hits him with an arm drag, hits him with a missile drop kick, or a running drop kick, I should say. This is where Darius Martin like, come on, my fans, pick up on your feet. This is where Roderick Strong flips Darius Martin right onto the apron. This is where Darius Martin hits a rare knife edge chop, which I'll say hopefully Gunther didn't see that. Like he probably didn't, but like if I was the Darius Martin, I'll be careful doing that maneuver because you don't want to get murked by the ring general. This is where he step up into Gary's Roderick Strong, goes up right on the top rope in the bottom right corner, goes for the proving most comeback move in all sports entertainment / pro wrestling in 2023, the crossbody, but only got him an even count. This is where Darius Martin picks up Roderick Strong, trying to go for a suplex, but Roderick Strong rolls out of it and steps back, trying to cross, like if he was trying to get away from a serial killer, like a masked serial killer. This is where Darius Martin tried to grab on the Roderick Strong, but he kicks him right into the face to get him back. This is where Roderick Strong hits a what's that half Nelson backbreaker like he would do on WWE 2K19. This is where Roderick Strong also was like. This is where Roderick Strong like got him up, and also I want to point it out, like before I forget, like that Roderick Strong had that signature mustache, looking like if he was a wrestling version of Aaron Rodgers, like on the New York Jets, of course, formerly on the Green Bay Packers. As a baseball fan's perspective of an eye view onto also looking at his mustache in AEW in a pro wrestling product, like he looked like a pro wrestler version of him, like with that mustache, like that side on his face, like without the other features, only the mustache, of course. But anyways, this is where Roderick Strong hits a deadly knife edge chop. I was like, did Gunther did not cross or mock him, I should say. Like when he changed his name to Gunther, because I remember when he very first named him Gunther, he wrestled you, Roddy. Like that was an episode of NXT a year ago. Like I guess Gunther didn't taught you that you do not mock him, because when the next time he sees you, he's gonna murk you, and because you're gonna be next onto his envy list. I was like, I'm gonna feel bad for all these wrestlers that are doing the deadly chops like a clutch, like if it's any finishing move, like when he thinks it should be a special move rather than an everyday, too often move. For the respect, you need mark his opponents like for the respect of this very sport, like Gunther would always say. This is where he does a sidewalk slam backbreaker right onto Darius Martin. This is where he starts shouting at Darius Martin like you shouldn't have been messing with me. You shouldn't have not doubted me. Like now you're gonna pay the price. This is where he you better stay in your lane. He starts side swiping, kicking right to the back of Darius Martin. This is where Darius Martin tried to intercept by hitting a right hand to Roddy's midsection, but he started hitting a couple of right hand strikes and even a knife edge chop right onto the Darius Martin. And this is where he knees him right into the midsection. This is where he hits another knife edge chop. This is where it goes right on the top rope. This is where he started hitting right hands repeatedly right onto Darius Martin. With the fans started counting like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 and 7, 8, 9, like 10. And Ron started like Nick Strong forever. Like when I say Adam and yelling at his face, I was like, you didn't really need to do that. That was way unnecessary than usual. Like this is where he hits a right hand, like, boom, and then this is where Darius went down into the bottom turnbuckle in the top left corner. This is where Roderick Strong picks him up. This is where he try to go for a fireman's attempt, like which I believe was trying to go for that knee gutbuster maneuver, but luckily Darius Martin hit him with those elbow strikes to counter the maneuver. This is where he hits a European uppercut right onto Roderick Strong, but Roderick Strong hits a forearm right to his face. This is where Roderick Strong tried to Irish whip him right back to the top right corner of Tina the turnbuckle, but instantly got countered by Darius Martin, which he landed face first onto the turnbuckles. This is where he hits throat first to the top turnbuckle pass with Darius Martin hanging on to the top left corner of the turnbuckle. This is where Roderick Strong goes try to go for a tag to Darius Martin, but he got the knees up right into the face. This is where he got a. This is where he doing double knees. This is where he Irish whip Roderick Strong, but he ducks out of the way. And then this is where Darius Martin goes for a run right to the ropes on the left side, and then gets drop kicked by Roddy. This is where Roderick Strong goes for a pin, but he only got a 2.5 count. This is where Roderick Strong was. This is where he got hit him with the abdominal stretch right onto the Darius Martin charge. He slapped the absolute shib right out of what's his name, Darius Martin, right into his midsection. This is where he gets right back up. This is where he started hitting right hands right to the midsection. This is where he got going back and forth, left and right. Hit a hot shot jawbreaker right onto the Roderick Strong, but he hits a side knee strike right onto the face of Darius Martin. This is where Roderick Strong's like, no time for fun and games no more. Like, time to get more serious. This is where he tried to Irish whips. This is where he tried to Irish whip Darius Martin right from the bottom corner ropes and goes for the top left ones. It goes for a gut buster. Like, and it's up with a step up Instigiri. This is where he hits right hands and then left hands. This goes for a knife edge chop onto to Roderick Strong. Hits another knife edge chop repeatedly. This is where he hits another one for the third time in a row. I was like, it looks like Darius Martin is going to be added to the list along with Roderick Strong and Roosh and the Workhorsemen's JD Drake and Anthony Hendry and Jalistico, because Gunther does not like it when he gets mocked or he's gonna murk him, like someone Simon Miller would say. But this is where he tried to Irish. This is where he tried to Irish whip. Irish whip. That's where Roderick Strong counters the Irish whip that Darius Martin tried to attempt to do, but he threw him right into the top right corner. This is where Darius Martin caught him in midair, hit the goes sliding like walking slide like onto the top rope and hits him with an insecurity right onto the face of Roderick Strong. This is where it goes for a pin, but he only got a 2.999999999999999999 negative 0.1 away from being 3. And then we got this is where Darius Martin goes right on the top. This is where he goes This is where it goes for a running bulldog, but he slides down on the outside. We're having Roderick Strong's neck first, right onto the middle ropes of the bottom side of the ring. This is where he hit the step up insecurity when he was on the apron. This is where Darius Martin goes for a springboard face buster right on Roderick Strong, but Roderick Strong intercepted with a knee strike right into the face, if not the jaw. This is where Roderick Strong goes. This is where Roderick Strong tried to go finish the top flight member off with a Claymore kick to finish off the poor top flight character. Top flight member until after he hits that Falcon Arrow backbreaker knee backbreaker, I should say, like boom, put his knee right on there, his finishing move. He gets the 1, 2, 3, and he got another momentum win of him wrestling in his matches. This is where Roderick Strong run out of wrestling power after he hits the maneuver. He was like, ow, ow, my neck, like, come on, Kingdom, put it back on, like, because he's like that when he's not wrestling in the ring. It's like something similar to the Festus, like when he has no clue until the bell goes off, and then we start going crazy, like, yeah, and then he started beating up his opponents, like Miz and Morrison, for an example, and this time when he teamed with Jesse. That's what it seemed like what Roderick Strong's doing with his neck issues. Like, but this is where, but yeah, it looked like Roderick Strong ran out of power, like when he's not wrestling until that bell rings. Like, it looks like he's perfectly normal and invincible. Like, which that doesn't make any sense. Like, what's the point? Like, I know this is all part of his character, but it's a nonsensical one. Like for Roderick Strong, like why? Why would you have your neck? Think you still need your neck brace when you really don't, and you can still walk around like if you're okay. Like there's no point of doing that. Like that's just very odd. But yeah, we got the Kingdom celebrating, lifting up Roderick Strong in the air, saying like, "Here's our winner of the night's mid-card match," and let's see. And this is where the Kingdom started a double team and try to do a post-match beatdown onto what's it? Like they tried to do a post-match beatdown, a double team, tried to go for that double power driver maneuver, like to poor Darius Martin, which they did. Their double power with Matt Taven going on to the mid rope and Mike Bennett getting ready to do the pile driver position. This is where Action Andretti had to scare him off, chase him out of there, save us. I was like, well, you came here at the last minute. Like, where was your ass was at? Like when he needed you the most, being the ringside with him when he was facing Roderick Strong in this match. Like that don't make no sense. That's the most 2 + 2 = potatoes moment in all of professional wrestling. Somewhat Simon Miller would say. Probably, if not tomorrow, I'll say Monday morning, like when he does his wrestling review ups and down video, which I would agree on, and I would put that on my comments, and I'll say, like I knew exactly what we were going to say that when I was doing my SNA podcast on Saturday night. But yeah, this is where Action Andretti was like, you can run and you can try to run and hide all you want and arrogantly celebrate, but I'm going to remember this, and I'm going to get you the next time. Like, you think you're a big man? Like, and this is where Roderick Strong's like, no one's better than Team Next Strong right here. Like, yeah, we on the roll, yeah. I'm like, yeah. like you got lucky there. Like I gotta admit that the Kingdom didn't got involved until after the match. Like I gotta hand it to these guys. And what do you think? What's next for the Kingdom and Roderick Strong after getting this big win, this big mid card win against Darius Martin? And y'all let me know down in the comments below. And we're gonna move on to the next. This is where we got. This is where we have Tony Khan announce big plans for in December, like which will be a tournament, which is going to be called. But before we get that, I should say before I get to that, say like he's talking about Wembley Stadium's next show in 2024, August 2024, at which is going to be their second All In pay per view, which you can reserve your tickets now to buy and reserve your tickets now, like onto Ticketmaster.co.uk, which you can search for that and start yourself a membership and even start getting tickets to go to wrestling shows like that. And he also had Bryan Danielson right beside him when he was announcing this, with him having a bandage covering his left eye, like around his head, which hopefully he recovers from injury like that. And also, and this is where Bryan Danielson was like, I cannot be more excited than this. Like, it's not even there yet, but like I don't know what's all. I seen him watch All In 2022. Like, I felt that energy in my eye. He's like, I think that was probably the greatest pro wrestling show I've ever seen in my entire career. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait because unfortunately I was injured with alongside like the likes of Jamie Hayter and Pac, which Tony Khan announced that. This is where Bryan Danielson's like, I cannot wait. All in 2024 though. And then he's like, weeks from now, it's gonna be right now, like. And this is where it's like that we're gonna have the biggest tournament, like the Intercontinental. It's called the Continental. What is it called? The Continental Classic. That's right. It's a Continental Classic that's gonna start in a week from now, like in the middle of November, which is gonna be the Continental Classic, which they're gonna have like 12 stars gonna be in the. Because at 11, not the 11th. I mean the November 22nd of this year in AEW. It's gonna start like a week from this Dynamite, I believe. Yeah, which is it's gonna start off with 22nd of Dynamite, which is gonna be in Chicago, Illinois, possibly at Thanksgiving Eve, if not next week, which I believe is gonna be this week. Like a week from this week that Thanksgiving is gonna be. This is where we got. This is where they also talk about they're going to be in Chicago, Illinois for the first round. The second round for AEW, or the other half of the first round of the first week, will be at AEW Collision and Rampage, which that's going to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Which I believe Rampage is going to be starting to be on live a little bit more often, like. Because they're going to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, like right before they have their Collision, like for November 24th and 25th. And then we got also the second week, which will be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is going to have the AEW Dynamite Live in Minneapolis, Minnesota at November 29th, like with Rampage being pre-taped, which is going to be airing on December 1st, while December 2nd they're going to be in Erie, Pennsylvania for the second week for the tournament. That's where they're going to be in Montreal, Quebec, Canada for both Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision, like for after the show. And it's going to end like in December. And then they're going to be in San Antonio, Texas, and then Orlando, Florida for the finals, like which will be December 27th on AEW Dynamite. And then at their latest pay-per-view event, it's going to be the new one to be the exact. It's going to be AEW World's End in December 30th, the day before New Year's Eve. Like, which who's going to be in the fight? who's gonna be in the finals for that night on Saturday night, which had me thinking like if it's gonna be Saturday night, then when they're gonna have AEW Collision? It's gonna be another night like a Wednesday or even is it gonna be Wednesday or even Friday? Excuse me, Trey. It's gonna be Wednesday or Friday or Thursday, not the Wednesday. I mean Thursday or Friday. Like this is very confusing. Like I would have expected Sunday, but that's New Year's Eve, so that's understandable that in that end. But and then which is gonna be in MJF's hometown in Long Island, New York. And that's what made me thinking like, does this mean it's gonna be they're trying to convince MJF to stay in an AEW? Only time will tell. Like this is where like who knows? Like anyways, this is where it's gonna be the finals. Who's gonna be the Continental Classic winner in the finals? Like, and he's like, I'm so excited that to announce all this. Like all odds, like it's only weeks away to start off with this new Continental Classic tournament. And what do you think about AEW doing this? And who's going to be the top 12 stars that's going to enter this tournament? And who's going to be the number one favorite of them all? Sound off in the comments down below. We're probably going to talk about this in the wrestling news. But anyways, and what do you think about you can reserve your tickets for All In, like at Wembley Stadium next year? Trey, you stop it. Hey, Mama, keep an eye on him. Hey, Mama, keep an eye on him with those markers. Or Miri, yeah. Can Miri keep an eye on him? But anyways, yeah. Let me know in the comments down below. We're going to move on to Julia Hart taking on Willow Nightingale. This is where we start the match. This is where Julia Hart tried to go for strikes, and this strikes to Willow. This is where he runs to try to go for a flying head scissors, but this is where Willow picks her up into go for a sidewalk slam, which she slammed her back first. Willow Nightingale is back on her feet in their game. This is where Julia Hart rolls out of the ring. This is where she tries to slide around to the apron. This is where she tries to grab onto Julia Hart around her hair. This is where she gets hot shotted by Julia Hart. This is where Julia Hart hits pull her outside the ring and instead bang her in her back first, right onto the hardest part of the ring apron. Try to go for a right strike, but this is where she hits a knife edge chop. But this is where Willow Nightingale hits a push that shoves the Julia Hart, kicks her right in the midsection. Try to go for a suplex right on but instead Willow Nightingale counters out of her move and hit her version of a suplex, hitting her back first hard right into the canvas. And hopefully this won't be controversial, but I think this match is definitely the third match of the night, which I believe you probably would say the Roderick Strong versus Darius Martin match should be the third match of the night. But I'll say, even though it was telling a story there, like a little mid-card story about Roderick Strong and the ride of his return, but I think that this mid-card women's match is telling a story about the possibility of Sky Blue turning heel with this four-way feud between Willow Nightingale, the Julia Hart, Chris Statlander, and Sky Blue. But anyways, we got but we're gonna get to the more of the point. We're gonna talk about this match. This is where but yeah. This is where we're going to get to that point. This is where Willow Nightingale was back and hitting her with comeback moves. This is where she tried to go for a finishing move at the end. This is where she tried to go for the gut wrench power bomb. But this is where This is where she tried to go for the maneuver, but she landed right on her bum. This is where she gets back up. This is where This is where you try to go for a striking iron fist with a T, clothesline right onto the to Julia Hart. She ducks out of the way, hits a striking clothesline right onto Willow Nightingale from her back. This is where she hits her with her heartless moonsault for the 1-2-3. Your winner, which which that like which I'll say like this like yeah, I mean which I say like I kind of expected this to happen, but I didn't know that it would be in this manner though. But yeah, she's declared the winner, and then it's been announced, I believe, at this Dynamite, like it'll be Sky Blue taking on Red Velvet, and see who's going to be the third woman, making this a three-way match at Full Gear for the AEW TBS Women's Championship. Like, which who you think's going to win? Like, I did not expect her to be in the match. Like, only like probably my theory was that it was going to be Sky Blue going to get an opportunity for Chris Statlander's TBS championship, and then just to turn heel on that night, like with her spitting her with the mist like in their face and winning and confirm her heel turn and even attack Willow. But I'm not sure she'll be aligning with Julia Hart, but I think it's going to be a guaranteed heel turn. Like we're going to see these seeds gradually grow like as the weeks come up. Like well, it looks like I have a new theory and a better one at that because it looks like we possibly will see we're gonna see a heel turn guaranteed. Like whether if she's helping Julia Hart and aligning with her, but only on her own terms, as her being the AEW TV or just genuine being a heel, like by attacking Chris Statlander when Chris Statlander thought she had the upper hand, doing the Saturday Night Fever on next Saturday at not Collision at AEW Full Gear, just to get misspit right onto her face, like after she hits the Saturday Night Fever onto Julia Hart and hits her with the code blue for the 1-2-3. That's my prediction onto the match. But what do y'all think what's going to happen onto the triple threat match? Because I believe Sky Blue's going to beat Red Velvet for the shot at the TBS championship and become new TBS champion. But anyway, this is where we got a backstage interview with Big Bill and what's his name, Ricky Starks, which they are the reigning AEW Tag Team Champions. And then this is where Big Bill was interviewed by his girlfriend, Lexi. He was like, y'all talking about this game, like out there, like go forward. We're not going to talk to you. Like, hopefully we don't see you, and we sure as hell like are never going to wrestle you, and so we're not. Which it was a shot. They were telling the House of Black that like y'all trying to set out the challenge, but we sure as hell won't wrestle y'all. Like we won't give you a championship whatsoever. Like basically saying like you do not deserve it, let alone earning a shot of being number one contenders. And this is where his girlfriend, that's a backstage reporter, said like it's been noted that Tony Khan is, and as you guys will be facing the three teams at Full Gear of Tulistico, Rouge, Malachi Black, and Brody King of the House of Black, and FTR's Dax Harwood and Cass Rouge. And Ricky Starks like, are you kidding me right now? Like, dude, how you know that before? How do you the one that know that before us? Trey, are you okay? You gotta be careful. You're trying to climb, but he fell right onto his little table thing. You gotta be careful doing that, Trey. All right, Trey, I'll take you over here to watch Kaji. Okay. Okay, Trey.
Trey, you need to be careful and sit down and watch television.
Right. You need to listen to grandma.
That's bad. Just sit there and watch TV.
Uncle SNA will be right back. He got to finish off doing this. But anyway, back to the interview about with Ricky Starks and Big Bill with Lexi, which she's the girlfriend of Big Bill. Like he was like, how do you know that before us? Like Like, you need to handle this off camera, the Bill, right now, referencing their real life relationship and about that. How did she get to know? Because she's the journalist, so of course she's gonna know before the wrestlers because she's gonna be here. She's gonna learn this by hearing the announcement from Tony Khan in the office. Like, so, like, why you're all confused? Whether if he's in a relationship with her or not. Like, why are you gonna freak out like this when you should know that? Like. And he was like, I don't know, like how this, like, yeah, like I need to work this out, Ricky. And he was like, yeah, that's great though. Like that they know before us the story of our freaking lives, like that story that sinks to every chapter that we have. Like we know how to finish this chapters, and I'm gonna tell y'all like this. And then my end, when me and Big Bill are gonna naming the AEW Tag Team Championship, you can have fresh for 20 years, and it does not matter when it comes to the two baddest dudes here in this company come together to be the longest reigning All Elite Wrestling Tag Team Champions ever in this lineage. This is where we got Paul White joining commentary because this was because it was Powerhouse Hobbs's match with this jobber, like with the or not jobber, I'll say enhancement talent with AEW, which I felt sorry for this guy. Like, but he didn't deserve to get beat down like this. Like, clearly not. This is where Paul White was like, yeah, that's absolutely good for him. Like, and he was like, and then Paul White was telling Tony Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness is like, he thinks he wants some, but he don't know what he's getting into. Yeah, he may have beaten everybody down there in this business, but he has not faced guys like me before. I'm telling him he don't want any. This is where before the poor man that he's facing, that's an enhancement talent, had a chance to get some offense in. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs went right towards him and hits a huge clothesline right onto him in the top right corner. This is where he got dropped onto his feet. This is where he started hitting single smacks and axe handles right onto the bottom right corner of the barricade. Started hitting him in the process, like boom, 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 boom. The referee was doing his 5-second warning count. And this is where Powerhouse Hobbs didn't give no types of dams what the referee did said to him. This is where he's like, Paul White, like, did I got your attention? You already been and got his attention, but the 7 foot, 385-pound whale is not sure if you should be getting in the ring with someone like him because he could eat you alive in the sea of the Atlantic, I believe. Like, what if it's in New York or Florida or wherever bay that they're in the east side of the country. That's where Paul White was like, you need to pay attention to your match. Like, I know it's an enhancement talent, but you need to pay attention to your match right now because you do not want to pay too much attention on me. But she should have been because this is where this young guy hits a drop kick right into the face of Powerhouse Hobbs. This is where he try to think of what move to do next. This is where he runs to try to go for whoever running attack move, but he waited too long to capitalize onto Powerhouse Hobbs. This is where he hits a running double-A spine buster, slamming the spine right onto this poor guy. He got the 1, 2, 3, and he looked directly towards Paul White. This is where he tried to go near him even more. This is where Don Callis like, no, not yet, Will. Like, this is where fans start booing. They're boo like if he was Dominic Mysterio. This is where he's like, the Don Callis family. Like, and this is where the fans start booing, like, boo! Like, we do not want to hear what the sugar honey iced tea, what you saying. And this is where he's like, the Don Callis, the history of professional wrestling. And he's like, greater than the Briscoes, greater than the Gagnes, like, greater than the Von Erichs, like every family, and even bigger than the Harts. And I was like, I don't know if you're bigger than any of those wrestling families because those are actual wrestling families. The Briscoes, the Harts, the Von Erichs, you name it. They're actual wrestling family, unlike this metaphoric fictional family that's on AEW. Like, no offense to All Elite Wrestling, but I'm talking about on the Don Callis side of things. Because they're not physically and biologically your family members. Even though I know sometimes like you don't have to be blood related to somebody to be family. But you're saying you're better than them, but they're actually were family and they're legendary. Even if they wasn't blood related, they were legendary. They brought the W in wrestling, or the PW into pro wrestling, I should say. Like y'all have talent. That's about it. Y'all need to do little more than just talent in pro wrestling. And he's like, and this is where Don Callis like the family will be called in a few days. I was like, yo, like even if you do get a win, like I'm not sure, like, but. And he was like, we're going to bring it like the Dragon, like if it's the Dragon Street fight on this Wednesday's Dynamite. Let me get to that point. But Don Callis said, he's like, let me teach you a history lesson. And not too long ago, Will Hobbs broke Chris Jericho. He may have, like, in that squash match, which I feel bad for the Ultra. There's what did Jericho do? Like a blood-sucking, narcissistic, sociopath that he is. No, I think that's what you are. Because you're acting pretty much what you described on the Jericho, which that was very, I'll say that was very hypocritical of you, of course. But this is where Don Callis is like, the last friend he had that he deserted me. They picked up the phone, and he's like, they called the last friend that he could call, that from the other company, that just happens to be the biggest fan in professional wrestling right here, Mr. Paul White. And then Paul White did a huge smile, like, in sarcasm. He was like, this guy is really talking right now. And this is where Don Callis like, Paul White is the same guy. So Chris got the sure that Paul, and you said, you anything you need, my friend. He's like, and then that Paul, you might have won you might have won the lottery and hit the generic jackpot, and then physical side, and then no thing about it. But I thinking maybe you got shortchanged in the grain department, only only face the Don Callis family. What we done to Chris Jericho, Omega, and Ibushi. Much less in the likes like a Dragon Street fight. But Paul, you were a complete smart guy, man. It's not too late to change your mind. You can still do it. You and I both know Jericho he's a narcissistic psychopath, that's gonna use you, and he used me. I'm wait, you're starting to sound more hypocritical because he tried to team with you, but he thought it was gonna be for a good cause, but not to be betrayed if he turned down your offer and you're trying to basically decapitate and attempted murder on him, metaphorically in pro wrestling. But yeah, that's. Which I'll say, you're the more narcissistic hypocrite that I have ever seen in pro wrestling. Not even Paul Heyman would sound like this. Even for his heel work as the manager of the tribal chief. But anyway, this is where if I can be serious just for a minute, he's like, and fans were continuing to boo him like they would do to Dominic. It's a very smart. I'm a big fan of your work. From the past 2 decades. It's not too late to pull the pin and leave Jericho hanging in the history book. And then Paul White was not listening to anything he said. It looked like he was not listening, but he was. He was just not buying it. He was just trying to see what's his excuse of not teaming with Jericho, his longtime best friend Jericho, and his new tag partner Kenny Omega and his best friend Kota Ibushi from New Japan Pro Wrestling. But anyway, this is where it's think I saw somebody that I never thought I would never see. A scared giant right here. and fans are booing even more louder. Like, and I was like, scared giant. Like, if anybody that's scared that's in this arena is you, because you're talking a big game. But if someone like Paul White come up and step up and try to fight you, you'll be backing down, having Powerhouse Bull Hobbs to back you up and put him right in front of you because you'll be scared behind him like some kind of a carny, scared psychopathic pathological SOB that I've ever seen in pro wrestling. Like, with you being a wrestling manager, of course, considering that he's like, but he's like, that's okay. He's scared of me because I run things here. I was like, scared of you? Like, he could KO punch you if he wanted to, like, in less than 1 sec. Like, he can knock you out right here, like, more than he did with the likes of Triple H, Brad Maddox, Randy Orton, John Cena, and Sheamus, and much more, like, that he did with the KO punch before. Like, he can knock you out, like just like a drop of a hat. Like, if you're considering of wearing a hat. But anyways, it was like, I might just have to do a little something here. So I would want to do a little reminder that I buried 2 giants in my career. Now I won't be hesitant of have somebody do a third one for me. Like, so well, like, put the smoke this fool. And then this is where Nigel McGuinness did the most. Said the most genius line in all of sports entertainment / pro wrestling commentary, saying like Tony, if I would recommend you to step away from this future brutal fight between these 2 big men. Like, I was like, yeah, like 2 big men about to punch some man meat or one another. That's where he pushed the timekeeper, like the timekeeper sign right onto Paul White. Paul White did not like that. He was like, hey, come on, you think you can fight me? Like, you want some of this? Like, you want some fight? This is where Powerhouse Will Hobbs cowardly backed off. He's like, yo, no, like, you want some of me? Like, you afraid of me? Like, I can take you down right now. It's like, but Will, like, I thought, like, but Will, like, aren't you gonna bring him down right now? This is where Don Cal's like, no, let's save it for when, like 4 days from now. 4 days from now. I'm right. And then this is where they nearly got to a problem, but look, maybe it's for the best. Like, and Kyle Fletcher was also holding Powerhouse Hobbs back, like, so he won't get brutalized by the world's largest athlete, or the former largest athlete, or the giant of all elite wrestling, I should say. Here's where they start mugging the absolute shib right out of Powerhouse Hobbs. And then we will have the street fight match, like, at AEW Dynamite, which I'm hoping Team Jericho and Omega, the Golden Jets, that's what they called them, beat the Don Callis family and finally end their reign of terror as of them trying to destroy the Omega and Jericho. But let's hope that will happen. What y'all think? Who has it all the way? Team Don Callis family or Team Jericho and Omega? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, we're gonna this is where we got a backstage interview about their take on their future tag team championship match with the team Ricky Starks and Big Bill, the guys that beat them for the AEW tag team championships in the first place, and also the House of Blacks, Malachi Black and Brody King, and Jalistico and Roosh, which Uncle Cash Wheeler weighed in his first opinion onto the backstage interview, saying, I don't talk about a little bit of Raw. I talk about that last week when they left us in the beatdown. Let's not forget that, look at like Big Bill and Ricky Starks, that you taking advantage of the FTR, and you're going to take our AEW World Tag Team title. Let's not forget the House of Black. Once again, we stuck their nose in our business, and it's simple that FTR. And that's why I was like, and he was like, we are Like, we are 10-time tag team championships, FTR. Like, there's only one, and that's what the stuff. And it doesn't matter the distraction from the House of Black. It doesn't matter anything about our one goal. It'll be AEW World Tag Team Championship. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if it's House of Black, Julie Stico, and Roosh, or it doesn't matter what Ricky Starks and Big Bill are having up their sleeve. Like, we're going on the road to AEW Tag Team Championship for the third time, and it starts now. Top guys out right now. And we'll see those guys next Saturday at the event. This is where we finally do get the main event match of the evening, which is the 6-man tag match with Sting and Darby Allin and the rated R superstar Adam Copeland taking on the Righteous as Dutch and Vincent and Lance Archer. And we're going to talk about that right here, right now. Like, which it was Adam Copeland and Dutch, like, when he hits the clothesline, right, hit the double extra clothesline, but Dutch was still up in the air doing sticking his tongue like, oh, that ew, like, that's not going to attract any women. Like, a woman's going to absolute bitch slap you right into the face, which I just spelled the whole entire name of a hit, like, which is bitch slap. Like, and I'll say, if I was a fan, and I even told my mom this, like, when I was watching Collision, when she was on her computer, like, I was telling her, I was like this guy Dutch, he probably haven't watched the movie Scarface before because of Tony Montana's friend, like, tried to do that to one woman at the beach. Like, she basically pit slapped him right across the face. Like, I was like, I would sound like an ECW fan for telling him that, but more of a PG version of an ECW fan. Because if you try to do that to a woman right down the street, like, even at a grocery store, she would absolutely slap them right in the face. Like, she wouldn't care if she got kicked out of the store because, like, someone like Dutch was basically, like, disrespect her by going right into her face and not giving her personal space. Adam Copeland, anyways. We're going to talk about more of the match. Adam Copeland tried to clothesline Dutch, but but this is where he still was up. This is where Adam Copeland goes one more time, but this is where Dutch try to go for a clothesline of his own, respectively. But this is where Adam Copeland ducks out of the way, hits a flying clothesline, finally brings down the big man Dutch off his feet. This is where Adam Copeland tags in Darby Allin, which Dutch tags his partner in himself, which was Vincent, which was when we got them face to face. Even though Darby Allin preferred to go face to face with Lance Archer because he did attack him from behind after his match last week at the last week's AEW Collision, like when Jake the Snake Roberts revealed that he added the Righteous into him and Archer's alliance. And this is where Darby Allin's like, okay, like, I guess I get to start with Vincent. After this, I'm gonna get my hands on the Archer. This is where Lance Archer tried to get under the skin of Darby Allin, saying like, don't forget about me. I was like, I don't think nobody wants to have anything to do with you, Lance Archer. Like, this is where it's like, outside, especially Darby Allin, of course. This is where we got the grapple hold from Darby and Vincent of the Righteous. He got him into a headlock, but this is where he dipped him right onto the right side of the ropes. Irish whipped him right onto the right. This is where Darby Allin grabs onto his head like he was not going to fall for the Irish whip routine of pro wrestling, grabbing onto his braids. This is where he got him in a headlock, and he slammed him right into the middle of the canvas. So I got him into a headlock into the middle of the ring mat. This is where Vincent picks him right back up, right onto the top right corner of Tina the Turnbuckle. This is where he was hanging on to the ropes. This is where the referee started his 5-second warning DQ count. But this is where, like, Darby Allin said, like, okay, I got my hands off him, let him go right into the top right corner. This is where Darby Allin got both his knees up. He was like, come on. He started, like, doing like a roof at him, like Willow Nightingale and what's his name? Willow Nightingale and and Brody King, that's what his name is. Brody King did going back and forth when Julia Hart rolled out of the ring, which I was saying why why you're even out there, why you always why you always ringside with Julia Hart, are you some kind of a secret romantic relationship with her or something, because you're being a little bit suspicious on that, even though I know she recently got engaged with fellow AEW Lee Johnson. And this is, even if they did have some kind of relationship on the show, it's only on screen, not off screen. But yeah, I just want to point that out. I couldn't help but notice about that. But back to this main event match, Vincent went face to face with Darby Allin. Staring. Vincent started smiling when Darby Allin was giving the serious mug in face. I'm not happy right now, especially what your now current leader Lance Archer did to me last week. I'm more mad than I am with Christian Cage and Nick Wayne right now. This is where they did an arm squeezing battle with Vincent of the Righteous, kicks him right into the midsection, had him got him in the shoulder tackle, right, in a headbutt right into the jaw of Darby Allin, twist the underarm, tagging in Lance Archer, which was a Darby Allin's worst nightmare. This is where he twisted on the arm, looking like he was going to go for old school, like if he's a Murder Hawk version of The Undertaker, which I don't think he is. And I'm thinking, what is up with everybody in 2023 trying to be like The Undertaker? Just like that fan cosplaying is The Undertaker at one of his Dead Man shows in Indianapolis, Indiana recently, which I talked about on the Wrestling News video. Make sure you check that out a couple of days ago. This is where Darby Allin's if you want to, y'all want to bring y'all's big monster, I'm gonna bring in mine. He tags in Sting, even though he is 64, but he moves around like if he's Darby Allin's age at 30 years old. This is where Tony Schiavone once again started going crazy for Sting. That's what he usually do. That is his moniker stick. He was like, "It's Sting." I'm like, it was fine when he did the first time when he made a shocking debut with AEW, but you don't have to keep doing that every single week when you talk about the icon from Every Man's Nightmare, of course, because everybody knows that he's in AEW right now, so you don't have to keep reminding us that. But it's where Sting was getting ready to fight Lance Archer. He was like, "Come on!" And this is where Lance Archer tried to mock the icon from Every Man's Nightmare, try to go for the call chance, "Woo, cool!" And then this is where Sting's "Oh, you can think you can mock me like that? I like to see you do it like this." And this is where he's like, "Woo, cool!" And then this is where he went back and did the call to him. And this is where they started doing the call off, "Woo, cool!" "Woo!" And then the fans started doing it along with him. And this is where Lance Archer tried to sneak a ambush clothesline to Sting, but he ducks out of the way, started hitting some right hands, and started hitting them with the punches and the silent but deadly chops, which I think Gunther's going to give a pass to the icon for Every Man's Nightmare, because it's not also the most loudest chops in all of sports entertainment and all sports / pro wrestling, I should say, because I'm not sure if AEW do not like it when they call it sports entertainment. Just ask Eddie Kingston, of course. This is where he started hitting right hands, after right hands, and he started hitting them right strikes, and then he hits a double clothesline onto the both members of the Righteous, Vincent and Dutch. This is where Sting goes for a boot right to the head. This is where he goes, put him right onto the ropes, onto the right side, hitting a striking clothesline on the outside. This is where Sting did a easily smile right toward Darby Allin and Adam Copeland. He was like, "Man, that was too easy." How it looked like he was jokingly made a joke to Darby Allin, saying "Man, Darby, how come you couldn't do this to him when you were in the ring as the legal one in here?" And then this is where Sting went right on the outside, started fighting him and onto the ringside area. This is where this is where Dutch tried to sneak in and try to do some heel tactics, but this is where Adam Copeland came in and clotheslined him right through Barry Barricade. This is where Sting was continuing to fight him and beat him up right into the out on the announce table in the former Barry Barricade. And then this is where Lance Archer's manager, Jake the Snake Roberts, got and interfered into the match. I was like, didn't they ever wrestle like in the late 80s, early 90s? Like when Jake the Snake Roberts was in his prime? Like maybe so, but it was when Sting was the guy that had the short blonde hair and the short blonde hair before he had the long black mullet, and also not to mention having it was wearing colorful pants, like whether if they were yellow, red, or blue, with the face paint that looks like my mask that match it, like looking like me with my mask and cape, like where if I'm wearing red, blue, or purple. I used to wear black, but I guess those days were over since 2022, back last year. Like you can see on my social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and even what's it called, and even TikTok. Make sure you check that out. It's under my caption is Super Ninja Austin on each one, respectively. And this is where Lance Archer took advantage, attacked Sting from behind, got him back in the ring, and then we're gonna talk more about this match, like. And then which we got him tagging in Darby Allin. He tried to get the guy comeback, but but Lance Archer was too much. He tags in, I believe, Dutch. They double team him, which he tags in Vincent of the Righteous. They just did a 2-on-1 disadvantage on him, do double team tag team maneuvers onto Darby Allin. And we're gonna talk more about this, like when they went picture in picture onto commercial break. Like this is where Lance Archer got tagged back in. He's basically brutalized Annihilate, tossing him like if he was a 10-year-old child that loves doing stunts like every single day and if not weeks. Like, and this is where he tags in Dutch of the Righteous. He tags in Vincent, also doing a pattern again. This is where they try to go for the double team sliced bread, the finishing, or not sliced bread, the righteous cutter that they usually do. But this is where Darby Allin shoves Vincent right into Dutch. Like he hits him with an axe handle right into his face. He ran and rolled out of there. This is where Darby Allin hits the small package right onto Vincent, but he only got a two even count. This is where he trying to reach. This is where Adam Copeland trying to reach for Darby Allin to tag him in so he can get back into the match and finish off the Righteous and Lance Archer. But Lance Archer's sneaky, evil little ass, or more like his big, evil, sneaky ass, grabs Sting, hits him face first, tripping him over, fits him face first right into the apron. This is where he shoves him right onto Barry Barricade, like right onto the left side. Adam Copeland did not enjoy this. And he hit him face first, and I was like, there you go. It sounded like my dad, like when he watches wrestling, with me. He's like, yeah, get him. Like, there you go. And he hits him face first right on the Barry Barricade, like even the odds, because that's what Adam Copeland loves to do these days. Like, to get even. I believe he was like that back in his days as the Radar Superstar and the Ruthless Aggression era in WWE in the mid-2000s. This is where he hits a double clothesline right onto both Dutch and Vincent, like off the top rope. This is where Adam Copeland hits a flapjack right onto Vincent. This is where Dutch runs go for a clothesline, but he goes for a little running half spearing Lance Archer out of the apron, or off the apron. This is where Adam Copeland went right towards what's his name, Vincent of the not Vincent, Dutch right on. He tried to go for a clothesline, but he ducks out of the way. Adam Copeland goes for a clothesline on his own, throwing Dutch out of the ring, and then this is where he was in the ring with Vincent. This is where he tried to run right towards Adam Copeland, but he hits a flipping body drop right out of the ring, which he landed right onto his teammates. And then this is where Adam Copeland went to a suicide dive, even for Lance Archer and Dutch holding on to Vincent, and hit a suicide dive of all three of them, bringing all three down to the ground, like if he just hit a strike at a bowling alley, like if he was like a lightning bolted bowling ball, striking down all 10 of the bowling pins, like bringing all men down with all of them wearing white, like if they were bowling pins, like genuinely. This is where Adam Copeland throws Vincent back in the ring. This is where he showed that he's ready to beat down his former best friend Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus. He was getting ready to hit the spear, which is to get the victory. He was like yeah, I've been waiting for a moment for this match, but also I'm just like, you know what, you know what, like you think about tagging in Sting, like, but this is where Lance, this is where the first, what's his name, his manager, Jake the Snake Roberts, was trying to distract Adam Copeland. This is what gave him enough time. He was like, what the hell you're doing here, like Jake, like stay in your lane. And this is where he got tripped over by Lance Archer, and then this is where he tried to drag him out of the ring, but Adam Copeland geniusly hits a sliding kick right into the face of Lance. This is where he picks back up. This is where Darby Allin got some retribution onto the Murder Hawk Monster, because he went right on the top rope, hits the coffin drop right on the outside, like knocking him down on the outside, like finally bringing him down, getting some payback and some restitution onto the former IWGP United States champion. Are you okay, Trey? You all right? You need to stop getting into some vaccinations. Yeah. Please don't be doing that. And don't let Samson You cannot be messing with the dishwasher. You cannot be doing that, Trey. Why would you turn on the dishwasher? You know you're not supposed to do, unless Mama and Daddy's doing the dishes. But anyways, I'm gonna end this very shortly, but I'm almost at the end of this match, and to close out this episode of Dynamite. Not Dynamite, Collision. This is Saturday, not Wednesday. But this is where he gets big boss man slammed by Adam Copeland. This is where Vincent tried to go for the cover, but Sting was hitting punches and chops, solid but deadly. Easily get a pass from Gunther from the envy list. This is where he started going back and forth, hitting strikes to Dutch, then to Vincent. Sting was going back and forth with Dutch and Vincent, like you, hitting punches and back fist and chops, like that were silent but deadly. That's where it's like boom, boom, to back and forth to Dutch and Vincent. Hit a back fist to Vincent. Continued the strikes with Dutch. This is where trying to go for the Scorpion Death Drop, with Adam Copeland hitting an elbow drop, like doing a double combo with both men. This is where Adam Copeland was getting ready to go for the spear going for the spear, but this is where Adam Copeland Irish whips Vincent right onto the bottom right corner, into his corner, out of the top, from the top left corner of his corner with Darby Allin and Sting. With Sting going for the splash right onto his back, with Adam Copeland getting ready to hit the spear, get the 1-2-3, get the victory for both his for him and his teammates. Like 1-2-3, your winners is the Radar Superstar Adam Copeland, Sting, and Darby Allin, which they show that they already like 7 nights from now, when they face Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus in their big 6-man tag match at Full Gear. And who do you think is going to win that match? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And speaking of the devil, this is where Christian Cage came out. I was like, I hope he's not going to talk trash onto Adam Copeland. Like, hopefully Adam Copeland's father's not deceased, and along with Sting's father, which anything's possible. I was like, even so, like, that's life, how it is. Like, that's very, like, life is, life is gonna have their unfortunate moments. Like, and even if a very close relative passes away, before before their time, or even when it's time, like that's how life goes. Like by the days, but we just have to make sure that the unfortunate days don't come sooner rather than later. And we live for the best. Like, so I'm not sure you should be talking down to somebody's deceased fathers because you want to be looking relevant as a heel. Like, well, at least reality talk mixing the kayfabe, of course. But this is where that Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus look at him saying like, "We wish you good luck for your match." Like, because when we face you at tomorrow, not tomorrow, a week from tonight, you're gonna this will be this is gonna be your first and last trios alliance match. Good luck, y'all being one off undefeated, because we're gonna end you once and for all as the tag team. Which sounds like that's what everybody says. Like, I believe Sting and Darby Allin's gonna help Adam Copeland get the win and remain undefeated as the team, because they're 12-0 right now as tag team stars. Like, Adam, your career ends before it begins. These three matches you're gonna have is gonna be your last three in your wrestling career. Is in your last three that's gonna be recent from AEW. Because I'm gonna make you retire on your third match here on All Elite Wrestling, and he's holding up the TNT Championship. He started talking rough. This is where Edge started mugging him. He's like, "Yeah, keep on dreaming that, because I'm not gonna have my last match. Like, I'm gonna have plenty of matches and be with dream matches with all these AEW guys." That's how AEW ended tonight, and this was Adam Copeland's second ever match and his first team match with Sting and Darby Allin. And do you think it will be the third match will be his last, or do you think he's gonna beat Christian Cage and his new best friends of Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus, or do you think he's gonna do that, and he's gonna have plenty of dream matches in All Elite Wrestling? And do you think that Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne's gonna kick him to the curb, like when Adam Copeland was warning him? Like, if he loses that TNT Championship, like only time will tell. And let me know. The sound off in the comments. And that's how AEW Collision ended. And I'll give tonight's AEW Collision 4 stars out of 5 for having 4 really good matches, like with the likes of Andrade and Daniel Garcia, something that we don't really see every week. And I'll say also with this match getting and that was the second match tonight. Number 1 match is definitely Sting and Darby Allin against and Adam Copeland against the Righteous, Dutch and Vincent and Lance Archer. And we also have Rush and Jalistico getting the fourth match of the night, which was Rush and Jalistico taking on the Workhorsemen's JD Drake and what's his name, and Anthony Henry. That's right. And then it's been confirmed they got a fatal 4-way tag match. And then we also have Julia Hart taking on Willow Nightingale, which was the number 1 contenders for who's going to be the number 1 contenders for the 3-way match against Chris Statlander for her TBS championship. Which Julia Hart won their match, and it looks like we will see we'll possibly see Sky Blue defeat Red Velvet at this coming Dynamite, and for the number 1 contender spot, to be for the night for next week, which I'm not sure if they're going to have a next week's Collision. Whether they're going to cancel next week's Collision. What if they cancel next week's Collision, or even put on a different night, like Thursday or Friday, possibly after Rampage or before Rampage. But yeah, let me know what you think. What's going to be the sake for AEW Collision, or it could be a few hours before, or it's going to come on early in the afternoon before AEW Full Gear comes on, which I thought was going to be on Sunday, because they have AEW Collision coming on Saturdays, which that'll be a smart move there. But let me know what you thought about this recap of AEW Collision in the comments down below, and what you thought about it. And for those who watched thought about it, let me know what you thought how y'all would rate the show in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed this wrestling review video, and if you did, leave a huge thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe, click the bell notifications. It's free, and you can change your mind later, guaranteed. And share it with your friends and families all over social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, WhatsApp, Telegram, you name it, even Snapchat. Like follow me all over social media. On top of that, and I've been your host, Super Ninja Austin. This was the 119th episode of the SNA podcast, which was the AEW Collision review, part 13. Last week of week 13. Of part 13 of wrestling reviews. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing my usual wrestling news video, which we're going to talk about the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors that you SNA fans need to know, which will be part 38, and it'll be episode 120th, which we're going to be looking up some the wildest wrestling news onto the Wrestling Inc. Article, the Wrestling Inc. article. And hopefully y'all have a great Saturday night and a great Sunday morning. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow afternoon. Until we meet again, Super Ninja Austin, the assassin, is out of the night. Bye-bye, my SNA fans.